Welcome back everyone to Bendy Lone Wolf. Let's pick up this video going into the music department. At the end of the last video, we did go and check out our collectible gathering situation, and we do need to find Sammy's mask now that we have all 4 candles. In addition to that, we still have, I believe, 3 dance blueprints to find and 5 records to find. So, just in case you didn't watch any of the others, any of the previous videos, the dance blueprints are found in the backs of the toilets. So once you flush it, the back will fly off, and if you see glowing stars, there's a dance blueprint hidden back there. And for the records, those are all found in the tall lockers. And I am fairly certain that you can only find the records in the music department. Sammy's mask is going to be found in the coffins. Now, I can say that I have found dance blueprints in toilets that are in other levels. So the final level that we go to has toilets that you can flush. And I did find a dance blueprint there once, but I don't think you can find the records anywhere else. It has to be in the music department. Also, the only place that there are coffins is in the music department. So if you're searching for candles or Sammy's mask, it has to be in this level. So now that we've got all of that out of the way, just follow your path of choice and get to hunting. And of course, don't forget about the 6 supply items that you have to have in order to call the lift down to get you out. Be sure to always leave one that is fairly close to the lift if possible, so that way you can collect it last and just make a mad dash for the lift once it descends. So now that you've had some time to play through, I think this should be the final time that we go all the way through the music department. I would love to know what you think about it. Let me know in the comments. And unfortunately, the next level that we go to, the tunnels, this is my least favorite. And that is mainly because everything looks the same. It probably took me, I would say, 8 to 10 times of going through. Because remember, I played this on normal and on hard. And I played it on another profile on my PlayStation before doing my recording so that I could get accustomed to the gameplay and kind of have an idea of where certain things are, which doesn't help much in a heavily RNG game. But it took me a really long time to get used to the tunnels. You'll see when we get there, and we are going to be doing a few of the tunnels. Maybe? Honestly, I don't know. I'm looking at my notes here, and we may go into the tunnels on day 29, but I'm not sure. Anyway, you'll see. It's all very, very similar and is very confusing. So, enjoy the time that you have outside of the tunnels. The final level is not too bad. There's a lot of, I guess, visual diversity. And I find that that's hard to say in a game that is this way, where there's lots of hues of yellow, orange, and brown, you know, and black. Like, that's pretty much all there is as far as color. So visual diversity I'm using very, very loosely. But it's fairly easy to recognize rooms. So once you know the layout of a room, it's pretty easy to recognize it. So that'll be much later. I think that we mostly get into that in video number 9, I think. I'm getting way ahead of myself. Anyway, I am curious to know if maybe you have another level that we've played so far that's your favorite. I think there are some good ones. I don't know. A lot of them are pretty bland, I think, or frustrating. And in this particular game, there's not too many times I would ever say this, because if you've looked at all in my list of games and you saw Wu-Chang Fallen Feathers, that definitely does not apply to games like that. But in this case, I would rather a bland level than a frustrating one, because I feel like I don't have a whole lot of agency. And I guess this is sort of getting into spoilers for my final thoughts, but yeah, I like games where I can at least have the illusion of control, because really, you know, we don't really have that much control when you're playing video games. Like, you control what your character does, but as far as upgrading or leveling up or whatever, you really don't have that much control over it. It's usually in good games, it will be scripted in a way where you don't even realize it's scripted, and in bad games, it's scripted very blatantly. And here, you don't have much of an upgrade system. You have your weapons. You can get weapons and improve them, but it's completely RNG, so you have no control over it. You can see there that we just picked up Sammy's mask out of the coffin, so that's done. And that's a load off for sure. We have 3 more items to collect before we can exit the level. So halfway done with that. And otherwise, we'll just be looking around for any dance blueprints or records, because that's mainly what we came in here for, I think, is Sammy's mask and the records. And we don't even have any records yet. Luckily, Sammy's mask is only 1 single item. So if my theory is right, that you can only collect 3 special collectibles per day, then we still have 2 to go that we could potentially get. Now, I'm saying that as in I believe 3 is the maximum, not that you are guaranteed to collect 3 every day, because you aren't. I think it was in the previous video, I went through 2 days for sure where I found absolutely nothing at all. 2 days back to back of finding no collectible items at all. So you run the risk of that as well. So anyway, just make your way through, find anything that you possibly can, and avoid the ink demon, of course. So I have another question for you guys. When you're looking at the different little mini games that you have to play when you interact with an object. Oh, I got so lucky right there. He really should have caught me. I got very lucky. Whether it be the little mini game you play to crack open the Boris cadavers, or the mini game to open up the coffins, or just the regular old mini games to open up lockers. Which one do you like the best, and which one do you find to be the most satisfying? If I had to guess, or if I had to pick, I think I would go with just the regular lockers, to be honest. Because you don't have to, if you're quick with your hands, you don't have to wait very long. I think that when you're cracking open the Boruses or you're opening up the coffins, if you miss one, and especially with the coffins, because it's like you can hit 4 in a row and then you have to wait for the little knob to go down to get the last 2. It's a lot more wasted time. And I say a lot more. It's literally fractions of a second. But I think you understand what I mean. Like, when you're trying to do this to open up this thing to find a collectible, you don't want to be standing around waiting and have to stop when you see, oh, there's a searcher coming after me, or I can see the ink demons coming. It's just annoying. So overall, I think my favorite is the regular locker. Here, we're almost done. I think I'm looking maybe for the second to last item. I know we passed up the gear a little while ago, but I don't recall seeing the plunger. I think we're getting pretty close to the end of this day, though. Maybe another minute or 2. Okay, I dropped 2 gen sticks, 3. So maybe the final item is through here. There it is. I see it. Now, those little mini lockers, the one I just opened, when you get to the final level, there is an item that you can collect from there in that level. That's going to make it more significant, because right now they pretty much only hold slugs, which is still, you know, an important item. We are going to be heading into the arcade in this video a little bit later, but we're not going to complete the arcade. In every playthrough I did, which I think was a grand total of 4, where I actually interacted with the arcade, there seems to be, it's like you can collect so many of the collectibles and then it just starts giving you repeats of the ones you've already gotten. So I find it's better to go into the arcade, collect roughly 3 to 4, and then leave, go do a couple of days of levels, and then come back to the arcade later. That seems to work the best to finish everything off. So get back to the safe house, drop off your supplies, be sure to save. If you're save scumming, be sure to exit out and upload to the cloud. We have 141 slugs, which is good. That's probably enough to go ahead and get yourself started. But first, we're going to go and handle this little bathroom secret here. We picked up Sammy's mask. We have all 4 candles. So let's interact with this and move on to the next level.
Our Lord is calling. Are you a believer? Boris beheld a vision of the past. A fallen prophet named Sammy Lawrence, hiding from his so-called savior. The prophet ran for the safety of his sanctuary.
So now we're going to be playing as Sammy Lawrence, which is kind of interesting. It's a departure from the last 2 boss days, and this does count as day number 27. So as Sammy, you can go through the cracks in the walls if you need to get away from the ink demon quickly, because Sammy cannot run. So if you need to get away quickly, you can go through the crack in the wall. You see he can't run. We just barely managed to make it over to this little hiding spot box. But yeah, you can use a special ability to go through the cracks in the walls. This is the way you want to go. There are only 2 hallways you can go down. First, you'll want to come in here, turn your camera to where you can look at the wall, because you need to know this pattern of instruments. It is bass, drum, violin, piano, drum, banjo. You'll have to go into the room with the instruments once you know the pattern, and you will have to play every instrument in that order. And I believe we did something similar to that in Bendy and the Ink Machine. It's been a really long time since I played that game, so I'm not super familiar with it. Like, my memory is a little crazy, but I feel like we did this to open up a secret door. And don't worry, the ink demon has never come in here every time I've done it. So if you're facing the chairs, in the upper right corner is the bass, in the upper left corner is the drum, on the chairs in the middle is the violin. Walk to the bottom right corner and touch the piano. Come back up over here and hit the drum again. And just below the drum on the left is the banjo. And if you hit all of those instruments in order, this shutter door will start opening and you can go through, and you're pretty much done now. That's all you have to do for this mini game. You can read the little sign on the wall, but just go stand in the middle of the pentagram and you'll get a cutscene.
In his sanctuary, the mad maestro hid from the world. But music could not soothe his restless soul. His fingers played songs of sacrifice as he sat alone. But he was not alone.
When the cutscene finishes, you will get the Believer trophy. And as you can see at the end, Sammy was confronted by the projectionist. Don't ask me how he got in there. And you'll see your question box on the floor of the bathroom. Now, you also have a tape from Wilson here, which I think is interesting because we don't have any special boss interactions with Wilson. This is pretty much the only thing that you see about him at all in this game. And I wonder, you know, they leave room to add things to this game, so I'm wondering if that's what they may potentially go add later on, is some content regarding Wilson. Here you can see we have 1 record that we found. You can switch out your record and listen to the song. Also, in the music department, when you're opening up the coffins, there is a chance that you can grab the safe house banjo. And there is a trophy related to playing the banjo in the safe house. We're going to get that later. But it is a collectible item that you can only find in the music department inside of the coffins. So keep an eye out for that. Here we're going to head back into the lower levels because we need to find the ink toy. We have to find it in order to get our final weapon. So here in day 28 in the lower levels, I'm going to skip ahead. As I'm walking through here, you should recognize this hallway. There are always 2 Boris cadavers here. Upon opening up the second one, you'll see he's glowing and the ink toy has been found. So let's cut straight to the end, pick up the final item, and make a mad dash for the lift. And we'll go into the safe house and inspect the ink toy. Now I will say the ink toy is by far the hardest collectible to find. I don't really know why, but it is. Once you find it, be absolutely sure to save your progress and upload to the cloud. If you come in here with the music's playing, this is the ink toy. And you should remember it from Bendy and the Ink Machine. You can make it change the way that it looks. And here I'm messing with it, but essentially what you want to do is when you start a new day, before you go into any level, you may see me run over here a few times and mess with it. The banjo is there next to the stove, if you can see it. The banjo's there. I don't play it right now. I'm going to come back and play it later. You get a trophy for playing it. But for some reason, I just didn't. I did it later. The ink toy. When you start a new day, go to the ink toy and interact with it 3 times before getting in the lift and going on to your next day. That increases your chances. As far as I can tell, it increases your chances of finding the final weapon. You saw I stopped off at the piggy bank to see how much we have. We are now going to enter the arcade and start working on the Fuzzy Friends trophy. You can see if you have the bowling ball, you can open up this door and you can bowl. And I'll show you just one round. You get 3 throws. You have to try to knock down all of the bacon soup cans. This was the first time I played it, so I wasn't really, I wasn't trying too hard. I didn't really, it was more just to see what it was about, you know. If you want to try to get the high score, feel free. You could actually spend quite a bit of time in the arcade playing all these games. And I did do darts for a long time. I tried the whack-a-mole game once, but it really wasn't for me. I didn't like the controls of it. But this claw machine is the one that you want to go and interact with. So once you open it up, you'll insert 3 coins and then you can move the claw to wherever you want it and drop it down to start collecting plushies. Occasionally, it will not grab a plushie at all. It'll just come up empty. But the goal is to collect all 7 plushies. There's one on the right side all the way down that has a question mark on it. Don't worry about that one. That one must be something that will be added later because you still get the trophy from collecting the 7 that you can see. And if you watch, I'm speeding this up to make it go faster. You'll see that I start collecting multiples. So at this point, I have all 4 that are on the left. And now I'm just picking up multiples of those or nothing at all. So what I'm going to do is get out of the claw machine. I'm going to take what I got and be happy with it. And I'll come back later to try to collect the final 3. You can see the plushies you've collected on this bench here. So we have 4 out of 7, which is good. We're over halfway. We'll come back later and finish. In the meantime, we'll just collect more slugs because you can see it comes up empty quite a lot. So for now, let's head into day number 29. Oh, and be sure to save, of course. Over here you can see that we have 6 out of 7 question boxes. Where there's only 1 left and it looks to be related to Gent. So let's delve into the tunnels. By far my least favorite level, and you're about to see why, although you may disagree with me. So, this is similar to in Bendy and the Dark Revival. When you talk to the ghost of Joey Drew and go in, he find his little safe house in the tunnels, and then you have to defeat Lord Amok, and there's like a puzzle where you have to drain out the water so that you can go through the bottom level of the tunnels. This is based off of that. The environment is based off of that. And everything looks the same. Everything just looks the same. Now, the more you play it, the more comfortable you'll get, of course. But in the beginning, The first time I came through here, I must have gone through the same places so many times because it all just looked the same. And these tunnels are pretty skinny, so you'll want to be very careful when it comes to the ink demon. There you can see we got the butcher trophy, and that is earned by defeating 25 butcher gangs. So that must have been number 25. One less trophy we have to deal with. And then if you go through a second playthrough on hard, you don't even have to open that box. The box that contains the butcher gang, you don't have to open it until you are done, pretty much. Like, you'll see at the end when I go through the hard playthrough, I don't open any of the question boxes, and some of them I don't even go and open up the box with the butcher gang until I'm fully completed all the levels using the lift, and all I have is the final battle. So that will make it easier. You have a lot less enemies to contend with. Now that I've been distracted by the trophy, down here in the tunnels, there is a collectible that you can find, and that is the drawings. So there are 5 drawings that we need to collect that go in the gallery, and all of those are found in the tunnels. You'll mostly find them on the barrels. So like the barrel I just picked up that slug from, you'll see a piece of paper with a handprint on it, and that is a drawing. So keep an eye out for those. We need to collect all 5 to progress that special part. And you can see behind, like where I'm heading, there's a piece of paper with a handprint on it here. Be sure to grab that. That is a lost paper, I think that said. And again, I think that you can find usually 2 per day. I don't think I've ever found 3 in a day, but I could be wrong. You may be able to find 3 in a day. Typically, if you're looking at so in the music department, there are so many different collectibles you can find there. It's very rare that you're going to find 3 of the same type of collectible in one day. You're typically going to find, if you find 3, they won't all be the same. And here, this is the only special collectible. So I just don't see finding 3 in a day. But I could be wrong. If you find 3 in a day, let me know in the comments, because I sure haven't. I don't think. Watch me have it recorded and it proved me wrong. It could just be that I was so fatigued by the end of it that I kind of blocked it. Who knows? Anyway, I don't think that this day takes too long, because of course by the time I'm recording this to make a guide on, I've spent a lot of time in these levels, and that's probably why I got so fatigued. Because when I first started, like my first playthrough, I had a great time. I was very enthusiastic about the game because it was so cheap, and it was different yet the same as the Bendy games that I've come to love. You know, just a new twist on it. And by the time I started recording gameplay, I was just so fatigued. I don't think I had enough engagement. Maybe I just require a little more. So as you can see here, there are 2 items in that room. I'm going to leave my gent stick right there so that I know to go there. And I've already found one, so that leaves 3. We need to go and find 3 before we can make a run for it. And we also need to keep our eyes open for the lost pictures, the lost papers. And it's just a habit to break the crates. It is also good to let you know that you've already been through that area. If you see a broken crate, you already know you've been there, because the pieces of the crate don't disappear. They stay all broken when you leave the area and come back. So that helps, but unfortunately we're not gonna find well, I guess we could find the final weapon component, but I don't think so, because I didn't manipulate the ink toy correctly this time. But if you found your ink toy, then certainly you have a chance. You could break the crates, and from this point on you have a chance of finding the final weapon component. And I will say the final weapon is pretty cool. I see why they left it for the last one. I find that, I guess the way that the weapons feel when you swing them, you know, you're just pressing a button to swing your weapon. So it's not like in another game where maybe you're using R2 to squeeze a trigger, or like L2 and R2 to shoot off a bow, or something like that. The difference in the weapons is more the delay, because all you have to do is press a button. But depending on the weapon that you're swinging, there seems to be more of a delay with some weapons than others, which obviously the mallet is going to be heavier than the baseball bat. But the frying pan also seems to have weight to it, with the delay that it takes from the time you press the button to the time the swing actually makes contact with the enemy. So the final weapon that you get is very different from all the other weapons. I would say it's probably closest to the baseball bat. Like, it's a little looser. You tend to swing a little faster maybe. And it's a lot stronger. I don't know if everything dies in one hit, because I didn't have a lot of time to play with it that much. And when you get to the end, every enemy is one hit, no matter what weapon you have, but just because of the way that the ending is, even on hard. So it's not just because I beat it on normal. Like, you'll see, I'll go through it on my hard playthrough. I'll go through the ending, and you'll see every enemy dies with one hit, no matter what weapon you have. I feel like I've just been blathering on about weapons and how they feel when you swing them, but you know, it could be that this is not a very difficult game. Honestly, I probably made this more for myself, because I can't imagine too many people are going to need a trophy guide for a game like this. I could be surprised, but I'm really not expecting a whole lot of engagement on this, to be honest. I think I enjoyed it. I wanted to talk about it, and also there's probably not going to be a lot of guides for a game like this, because it's very hard to make a guide for a game that is so heavily RNG. So maybe I just needed to talk about it a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, we are almost done. We're about 2 minutes away from the end of this video. We're about to go and grab our final 2 items and make a run for the lift. And in the next video, we are going to be going into the arcade again. We're going to do day number 30, which, as you know, is always a boss fight with an animatronic. And we are also going to get 3 trophies. So we have that to look forward to. So let's make our run, head back to the safe house, and drop off all of our supplies. I'm pretty sure we're also going to go take a look in the gallery to see how far we've come along in the collectible collection. I think we grabbed two. I think we had two lost papers. I went the wrong way. I'm sorry. It's to the right of the arcade. So if you come into the gallery and go to the far back wall, you can talk to this guy if you want. He'll say a little something different every time. We did find two. We have 3 more to go, which isn't too bad. But once we get to do that secret boss section, once we find all 5, it will be in the tunnels. So you will have to go through the tunnels again for that section. If we run over to our board here, you'll see that we have 1 more question box to find before we can access the gent room. And in roughly 4 more videos, we're going to get there. So thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And I'll see you back here in part 7. Until then, Khajiit always has wares.